So nice to see you. Yeah, I just finished playing basketball, believe it or not.
Good for you getting that activity in. Just so our
Yes,
users,
yes, ma'am.
viewers know, Deanna is joining us all the way from Romania. So thank you for your commitment
And
and still being here.
yo, yes, especially for this topic, I would have woken up in the middle of the night, maybe I don't know, but I really, really wanted to be here for this topic, especially. So thank you very much for adjusting the time. I'm very, very grateful. It's 10 p.m. here, so it's doable.
Good. Okay, yeah, it's not too late. So alrighty, let's get into it. We got lots to talk about today. Gonna start with the icebreaker. No, start with your introduction. So for those that don't know, Deanna is a yoga teacher. She's a relationship coach, and she was a thought leader in 2019, 20, 20,
2020. I think it's 20.
20, yes. And Dr. Stefan is a TEDx speaker. He's a doctor of physical therapy, an all-around fun guy. So, and yeah,
Yeah.
true. All right, we're going to be talking about how spirituality and fitness are related. Been wanting to dive into this topic for quite some time, and honestly, really see us expanding on this later in the future to come. So, but before we begin, we're going to start with our icebreaker. So, a very fun one for you guys today. Okay, I'm going to go with Stefan first, and it's just
Oh boy.
very simple: truth or dare.
Oh. There's so many fun ways to go about. Let's go truth. I'm almost interested to what the dare would be. Did you have one you really wanted me to pick?
Both are going to be great for you. Both, yeah. Actually, I do have one for you. Yeah, go with dare.
Okay, go dare. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go dare. I mean, like,
Okay.
I'm happy to do both, honestly, but let's go dare.
This is great because on our call on Tuesday, I'm gonna get you back. All right. So you
Cool.
have to do your best Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
Is there anything specific that I'm supposed to say?
No, just go for like 15 seconds.
I get to the chopper. I don't know how to talk about spirituality. When I was governor of California, it was very spiritual place. And I understood that I needed to be part of it, need a lot of avocados.
There you go. There's my
Nice.
governor.
That's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Good job, Stefan. Whew. Well done. Didn't seem like it phased you at all. Okay. Deanna, truth or dare?
Yes. Truth.
Truth. Okay. Who was your first crush? How old were you? And how far did you go?
My first crush was Mr. Husband,
Oh, yes.
and I was 2.
Wow.
And he was 5. So we didn't go far.
Right. Just not even.
And then we went on.
all the way. Wow, I don't even
Oh,
remember
no.
what I was doing at 2 years old. So that's fantastic. It's beautiful. What a love story. Okay. Well, okay, let's get into it then. Let's go. So
Why doesn't Nikita get a truth or dare? What is this?
Hey. Fine. You guys can. That's not in the agenda, Stefan. I don't see that here. You can pick. You can ask me then.
Do you have a question though for her, or a truth or a dare?
I don't have a good one.
Neither.
Okay, just to be on topic, you get to pick. They're both going to be truths because I don't have a good dare that I can pick out right on the spot. They're both going to be truths. Either tell us what your personal relationship with like spirituality / religion / whatever, however you want to label it is, or answer Deanna's question for truth.
Okay. Well, since we're going to be talking about spirituality, all that kind of stuff, I'll go with Deanna the same question. So, who was my first crush? Oh my God, I was in like grade 4. I don't know how old I was, maybe like 7, and it was this kid that we would like fight, like wrestle with, on like home from school, and we like tease each other, and we were so like. I wouldn't say mean, but like we would tease each other when we would walk home from school. But then in class, I was like so quiet and like, I don't know, it's the person, but I had like a little crush on him. And then, yeah, how old was I? Like 7 or 6. How far did we go? Nothing intimate, but the last time we wrestled, I kicked him in the balls, and I realized that you're not supposed to do that to guys after that. And he like fell over on the ground and was like in fetal position. I was like, oh, I think I broke him. And I like ran away, and I was like, and I was so scared he was going to kick my ass for like the next 2 weeks. And then I just like never talked to him again. So
Wow.
getting into toxic relationships since day one. Woo. That's my love story. Hey Chris, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Alrighty. So, okay, let's get into it, guys. I'm very excited for this topic, spirituality and fitness. How is it related? And we're going to preface by the question of what is spirituality and what does that mean to you? What is your definition of it? So, I'll go first, I guess. Spirituality, to me, I think of it as your internal compass, your heart, your intuition, and it also is a mix of your brain as well. So how you navigate your brain, your heart, your gut feeling throughout the world, through life experiences, and how you learn and grow from them is spirituality to me. And you can either, the person can decide to tap into that and go further into it, or some people can decide not to. And I think everyone has different ways of becoming spiritual and their own sense of spirituality, whether it's through a religion or conventional spirituality like crystals, all that kind of stuff. I think everyone does hold some sense of spirituality within themselves, something that they believe in. That's kind of my rough definition. Yeah, who would like to go next? Let's go with
Stefan.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'll go next. I feel like we're going to have relatively similar questions in the general definition of spirituality. So I'm going to more so talk about my brief history of it all. So I was born in Russia, raised Russian Orthodox, was like the religion, and that's the constant, right? The religion versus spirituality. Is there a difference? Blah 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 blah. Anyway, Russian Orthodox, which is basically Christianity, is just a lot stricter in various ways, and never really liked it. Never was kind of was like, okay, I'm supposed to do this, fine. What was interesting is that it has 4 great fasts throughout the entire thing. So at some points of it, I actually had to go vegan. At that point, I hated it, which is really funny. But now I'm just vegan by choice. And so my mom, who still practices the religion, she's like agonizes over those times. It's like, how do you do it? And I'm like, this is just my life. Like, this is not even a problem. So just changing those perceptions. Then as I got to choose for myself, went into more of that kind of like, questioning agnostic phase, went into my atheist phase. And then finally, now I have this, and the best word for it is spirituality, and this kind of belief for me of spirituality is that thing beyond sort of your mindset and your personal body that motivates or guides you along. In my case, for example, it's maybe like the purest forms of Christianity in terms of like love and being like, okay, love is what guides me. And are these actions in a loving manner or are they not? And it doesn't mean that you just love absolutely everybody, meaning you just give everybody money or something like that. But it's, are my actions going to generate the most amount of love and the most amount of positivity, or are they not? And that for me is the spiritual kind of guidance. So I don't really do the organized religion side of things, but in terms of spirituality, very much guided for something beyond myself.
Beyond yourself. Yeah, love it. Love it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right, Miss Diana, Miss Yoga Teacher, your turn.
Oh God. So you being a yoga teacher doesn't mean that I understand spirituality necessarily better than someone else, right? So I can tell you what.
Oh crap! It's cutting out again.
Philosophy says I can share with you, like this. But Yeah, somebody called me. I don't she goes to church. She finds a lot of peace in prayer, and then following the religious, exactly the Christian Orthodox teachings, right? So she fasts just four times a year. Also she uses the sign of the cross and so on and so forth. And so everything around her is actually by the will of God. So the good and the bad, they all happen because of the will of God. So that's her understanding of spirituality and her beliefs. Mr. Husband, I was very upset at the beginning of our relationship that he doesn't believe in God, and I don't know if I can be with a person, and so on, And then he explained to me something beautiful, and he says, if I would ever incline to something, it would be to nature. Because nature is the one that feeds us. We can only exist because nature exists, because trees exist and animals and plants and so on. So I respect nature, and to me, nature is spirituality, is something that that gives life to me. So this is what I believe in. So he believes in something that he sees, but in my opinion, this is also a form of spirituality, of nature, of being connected to nature, of being one with the nature, understand the importance of nature, and so on. I, on the other hand, believe that there's many lives, that we're here to learn a lesson, that there is something like, a higher being with the source, whatever you want to call it, but that also that we are a part of that source. So unlike religion, in yoga we believe that divinity is also part of us, so is inside of us. We have that inner part of us, that inner teacher that has unlimited knowledge. So we are part of the divinity as well. So these are three forms of spirituality, in my opinion. And just very beautifully, as Stefan said, in my opinion, spirituality is how we understand our relationship to the things around us, to the universe, to the, you need to be sure. So I see for yoga practice,
I didn't say that.
Kind of 3 to 4 levels. She said it more beautifully, but this is what she meant. I know. No,
you know me well.
You know that. So you can take the yoga practice as a purely physical level, and that's totally fine. It already gives you lots of health benefits. This spills in all the other aspects of your life. Absolutely. You can go a little bit further to the mental and emotional level, but you can also go a little bit further and to the to the mind, basically, and you can go a little bit further to spirituality, to
I feel like we're missing some good stuff here.
To look at the yoga philosophy and the yoga ways of life, and how yoga understands energy and the connection between all of us. The name of yoga, so yoga, the term.
That's beautiful.
Means,
unfortunately, you cut out. We only caught about like the last couple seconds of that, but it sounded really, really good from what I heard. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Stefan, go for it.
I just wanted to add something. I know we're going to be talking about things that may make some of the audience members kind of go like, oh, like it's very easy in this kind of topic to label and just be like, as soon as somebody says things like the source or something, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's not what I believe in. Just for myself personally, this is what helps me to listen to anybody's spiritual or religious argument and be very calm with it, is replacing the word with whatever you like. So even when somebody might say God, I in my head go universe, because that's kind of what I'm like, okay, it's the universe, be that God, be that source, be that whatever it is. So do that, and it can be a lot easier for you to be more accepting. Just because people aren't using the exact same word as you doesn't mean they're not talking about the exact same thing as you in a way. So that can just help the conversation along.
Totally, totally. Yeah. Keep an open mind. Don't let something stop you from becoming, you know, more open-minded and learning something else. So very good point. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you everyone for joining on. So now that we've defined what, and I love what you said about nature, Deanna, how Mr. Husband George finds spirituality in that. And I can totally, totally agree, relate to that. So now what we're going to get into is how movement, energy, and breath work are connected from spirituality. So let's talk about like what the spiritual practices are revolving around energy, breath work, and then how that ties into fitness. And yeah, so right off the bat, the things I know of are like breath work, the Wim Hof method, where you are forcefully breathing in and out, and this causes you, it resets your nervous system, first of all, and it causes energy to move up your chakras, if you will. And if you're not in alignment with like chakras and all that kind of stuff, it's like something you really need to try. So if anyone's on the fence about that and is confused about how fitness and spirituality are connected, I highly recommend trying breath work. Meditation is great, but I really feel like breath work connects the two because it all starts in the breath, right? From the moment we open our eyes to the moment we die, it's all there. So for me, how breath work is connected, like when I'm in the gym and I'm lifting heavy and I need to create that diaphragmatic pressure to lift that weight, it's a similar feeling to breath work, because when you're expanding and contracting and you feel lightheaded, like you're moving that energy up and down. So it's very similar in that sense. And that's that feeling of like dopamine and endorphins when you're done a workout, is that similar feeling to breath work. When you're done a session, you get lightheaded, and they say it's like some DMT being released and things like that. But at the same time, I think it is like dopamine and endorphins being released. So I feel like in my practice, I'm just scratching the surface of going deeper into that. And I would love to hear, Deanna's take on it. But Stefan, how about you go first? Because I know Deanna has like so much good stuff to share about it in a nice way.
Yeah, sure. I'll echo a good bit of what you're saying in the sense. So for me, in terms of spirituality, I'll go with, I said before that it's the thing beyond me, which means that when it comes to fitness and when it comes to having a healthy body that can move in a variety of ways and can excel at life and living, because in my philosophy, movement is life. Because even when you're asleep, you're still having parts of you that are moving. And when nothing in your body moves, you are dead. Like truthfully. So it's not like you're dead when you're asleep. I'm not saying move all the time. I'm saying the more that we can express it. So in that way, my spirituality, my philosophy about the movement side moves me into the gym and saying, okay, if I can be a better mover, I'm able to express myself that much more. Now, whether or not how far you get into the science versus kind of some people would say like the woo-woo labels of it all, doesn't really matter. Is it the fact that we have electromagnetic waves all around us because we are a living being that produces them, or is that an aura? Are those two things really that different to you if you really want to get into it? Is breath work, in the terms of you were saying how it goes through the chakras, is it only chakras, or is energy and matter not able to be created or destroyed? So because you're pumping in energy and you're doing something, you're gonna have to be activating all of these things in different ways. To me, it's just what is going to help you actually find the reason to do the thing. So we know that breath work is amazing. And if you do any kind of long-term meditation, most of this time they start with breath work. So I did one that it was 10 days of meditation, 10 hours of meditation a day. And the first 3 or 4 days, all they wanted you to do was pay attention to your breath right at the bottom, on your upper lip at the bottom of your nose. For 10 hours, 30 hours of that drove me nuts. It was crazy, but it's the breath. It's something that's constantly with you and is going to be there. The Wim Hof method goes into way more than that and into more kind of active stuff. But I think it's that spirituality provides you an avenue of connecting a lot of these things to fitness that otherwise you might just be like, well, I don't know what the scientific peer-reviewed study research actually says about it, and you can experience for your personal self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you did Vipassana. That was awesome. I recommend Vipassana to everyone. 10 hours of meditation, 10 days. It can be powerful. I believe that spiritual practice can be a lot of things. You can put a seed and plant a seed, and that is, and if you do it with intention, with love, with, I don't know, positive energy, that can become a spiritual practice as well. You can just close your eyes and breathe a little bit and just be grateful. That is spiritual practice, in my opinion, as well. You can, I don't know, send love to someone or light up a candle, and that is a spiritual practice if you do it with a certain intention. So I believe that you don't need necessarily a setting. Or you can donate something and wish for the best for the people who are going to wear those clothes, right? So spiritual practice in itself, it can be anything. You can chant a mantra, you can, do a hand gesture, a mudra, and just set an intention. You can journal, and that can become spiritual, right? So I think spiritual is more about intention, and if that particular practice you with yourself, with the rest, with everything that is around you, I think that can be called spiritual. I wanted to mention that yoga is 5,000 years old, and for most of it, for almost 5,000 years, it was only meditation and physical practice. So the asanas were introduced in the 19th century by Krishnamacharya. And how did it happen? Krishnamacharya was teaching yoga to teenage boys at the Mysore Castle in India. And one day, the British gymnast team came to the castle to perform. And Krishnamacharya looked at them and he's like, this would be a great way to squeeze all the energy out of the very energetic teenage boys so they can sit in meditation. And this is how the asanas were used. So yoga was ultimately a very, let's say, practice that was not physical at all. It was just about sitting, breathing, and meditating. So the physical practice came in aid to the other parts. And I believe, that for a holistic wellness and also for spirituality, I believe that movement is a great avenue, a great way to bring you in that state of connection with yourself and with everything around you. After you practice, after you become so aware of the muscles in your body, of your breathing during your practice, that is a way to connect. That is a door to spirituality as well. My teacher says, Christina, she says, in order to release, you must engage. So if you can use the asanas or the practice as a foundation for for that breathing that comes after the meditation and so on. You ground yourself and sit easier. And that is from strictly from a yoga perspective, and this is let's say the perspective that I am representing here, but everything to become so
I'm not sure if she's finished talking or if it just cut out. Okay, seems like you're finished talking. Cool. Yeah, go ahead, Stefan.
I actually have a
Great thing.
question, an interesting question for Deanna in this case. So something that you mentioned was this idea of, thinking of something positive, like gratitude, that could, whatever, something small can be your spiritual practice. And I think something people don't talk about, we always talk about spiritual practice as positive. We think about all of that. Do you think that there is a space where negative thoughts could also be a spiritual practice? Your hate for somebody could be your spiritual practice that you didn't maybe label correctly. And then if you think that that can be a possibility, can you talk about, I think I know the answer, obviously, but which one is better and why is it better?
So I think we all have both the light side and the dark side in ourselves. And to expect that we are only light and only look at that side, that cannot bring healing. So acknowledging that we have hate and understanding where it comes from, honoring that source and honoring what hate does for us, because we went to hate and to protect us. Everything that we do either is there to protect, to prevent, or to provide. So even that hate has actually a more powerful, or it helps us feel less hurt by something, right? So even looking at hate, if I may, I don't know if you still can hear me properly, but the chakra for hate is the heart chakra, which is also the chakra for love, right? So we can do physical practices, spiritual practices as well, in order to open the heart and to release the hate. But to act as if the hate doesn't exist and to just say that, oh, I love everyone and everything, but the hate is still there, that is not addressing the things. And I am very grateful, Stefan, that you brought this up, because you're very right. The way that I said it, it always seemed that we have to think positively and say positive things, not at all. And I would like to ask you, can you add to what I said? Because I'm sure that you have your own, maybe experiences or opinions on this.
Sure. So the reason I was asking is also, I don't know, it's kind of, this is going to sound like an aside. I talk to a lot of companies about company culture or team culture. And I always say, no matter if you think you have good or bad culture, if you think you don't have culture, you probably have bad culture and you don't realize it. And so in that sense, I kind of almost want to go, even if though you may not think that you're spiritual, you might still be doing things that are impacting that side of you, such as like the hate stuff and all of that. And it usually to me seems that we have a negative society overall from what I can see. It's very easy for people to be negative. And a lot of the spirituality side of it always talks about the positivity, as if like, oh, just be positive, find the goodness, find all that. And that's good. But I think the reason it has to be that is because the default right now for so many people seems to be so negative, so that it has to counterbalance it. But just like you said, I think there is a place of, if you just blindly go, nope, I'm always going to be positive, nothing bad can ever happen, everything bad is actually good, that's also not an approach, because you're not healing, you're just shutting yourself off to realizing that side of it. And then to the point of where I was saying, which one do I think is better? I think that because some people will say that I like to get very angry when I lift weights. I would need to put myself into that thought process that like something is happening to my loved one and I need to be very angry, fight or flight, and just to lift a heavy weight. While that can be good and some people might use that, I just feel that there is a point where that shouldn't be your spiritual guidance, because inevitably that's not sustainable over the long term. And that couldn't be the constant thing of just living in the hate and the fight or flight mode.
Totally. I just want to gear the conversation back towards, fitness and how spirituality is related to it. Something Deanna, you said that when you're doing yoga, you're squeezing the energy out through different areas of your body, through different chakras. Like I definitely experienced that in the last week when I was doing this 11-day yoga challenge, and then our master would get us to meditate after, and I've had the deepest meditations I've had ever. And some of these poses are very difficult, like these inversions and headstands and like flamingo and all this stuff, and requires so much strength. It was really, really eye-opening, literally. I think what's really cool about the spirituality and fitness is it's all about raising your vibrations at the end of the day, right? Like, why do I go work out? Why do people go work out? Well, because it makes me feel good. It makes my mind feel good. It makes my body feels good. I'm the best version of myself when I'm consistently active and moving. And then same with spirituality. It's like you're doing that actively moving, but from the inside, right? Sorting through your thoughts so that you can be in the highest vibrational state. And then along with eating food, right? The food that we eat, whether people believe it or not, there's high vibration food and low vibration food. Like what's low vibration food? Junk food, processed food, all that crap. And what's high vibration food? Like natural, organic, fruit, like all the healthy stuff. Water. So yeah, I love the correlation between those two. Okay, do you want to touch on anything else related to breathing and energy? No. Okay, cool.
So there is something. So breathing, the breath work in yoga, we call it pranayama. Prana meaning energy, chi, I don't know, life force, energy, how you want to call it, the force. May the force. It's that thing that everything. And the breath is the vehicle of energy. So
I like that.
We bring energy in and energy out through the breath. The breath, intentional breath, can be very cleansing and can reach certain goals. It can be, as I said, cleansing, but it can also be very, it brings you in a just taking 3 deep breaths in and out calms the nervous system. And I know that, Nikita, you touched on that in a previous episode, if I'm not mistaken. So tells the body that it can relax, that it is safe. And then that, all the cortisol and the adrenaline and all those hormones that can be toxic if they're pumped for too long. Basically, they release when you tell the body to get out of that fight or flight mode and to get into the rest and digest. So when you feel that, can't think properly, when you feel that your heart is beating, when you feel that you are agitated, 3 deep breaths are doing miracles to your body. And I think this is amazing. Just do. Because we breathe very shallowly. Even I sometimes, when I take a deep breath, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even.
Yeah, I love that when you said the breath is the vehicle for your energy. I just got this visual of a little roller coaster or a train just like carrying energy around you, and it's so true. And when I got into the gym lifting heavy, I would say it's like the gym is like my temple. It's my haven. It's my safe place, because I didn't know at the time, but when I'm like doing those workouts, I'm moving that energy, and like it was very meditative. So thank you for bridging the gap, Deanna. Okay, let's go into yoga philosophy versus fitness. So what is the yoga philosophy, and then how does that tie into fitness? Let's hear it. We'll go with you, Diana, because that was your question.
Oh, so there are, we have 5 yamas and 5 niyamas, and these are the 10 teachings of yoga. Some of them are very similar to the 10 commandments. One is non-violence, right? So the absence of violence. Another one is, it doesn't refer necessarily to taking some late at a meeting. That's also some of these teachings. For example, non-violence. Violence is not necessarily physical. It can be mental, it can be emotional, and it can be violence towards ourselves. So if we go, for example, in a fitness practice, in a yoga practice, whatever type of physical practice, and if we go there and try to, make our bodies hurt and to punish our body for, I don't know, maybe eating too much, that is already aggressiveness towards our body. So from this perspective, so from this particular yama, I wanted to say that when you go, whether it is to the gym or it is a spinning class, a yoga class, try to work out, but at the same time honor your body. Be grateful for the body. Be thankful to the body that it's guiding you through this world, because your body is an amazing vehicle. It's incredible. So I used to go to fitness classes and and to literally punish myself there and do until be beyond my limit, and still not be grateful and still not be satisfied and still look at my body and not like it and stuff like that. So that is also a form of violence towards yourself and towards your body. So to that perspective, if we use yama in this case, when you go and practice with a lot of love towards yourself and towards your body.
In that term, I will. I really like your point about violence towards ourselves. So,
Stefan,
as we mentioned on previous shows, I am a CrossFitter. Get over it.
We love it. Yay.
We
have
sure
the perspectives of everyone, of everything.
So when I first started CrossFit, the whole idea of CrossFit is that everything is measurable and you can do everything. So you're supposed to reach the higher thing. The amount of times that I injured myself and the amount of times that I pushed for that number, which, by the way, caveat, I did my undergrad thesis on CrossFit. It does not have a higher injury rate than other sports. So we need to stop saying that it's more injurious than others. It may look it, but it's not actually more. Anyway, I very much had that mentality of, no, I need to push myself. There wasn't a deep, like a why. I was like, well, I just need to succeed. I just need to do this. Nowadays, which I haven't gone to a CrossFit gym in a while because of the pandemic, but when I go back, I always work out with like the 65-year-olds and all of them, because their mentality about it is, how can I make my body function better? How can I live longer? How can I just be better and not injure my shoulders and do all these things to myself? And so that immediately changes my mindset around it of, how do I go beyond myself in that sense and make sure that I am able to function longer? Because really, that's why I do fitness. I don't just do fitness to be able to deadlift a crazy amount of weight. To me, there's usually something beyond that. It's not just about the weight. The weight represents something. And that's where I think spirituality can come into fitness, is what is that deeper, further, even past you, why that you're doing all of this? Because that should guide the principles. And if your back is hurting and you're thinking, ooh, I might tweak my back on this lift, I probably shouldn't put up this much weight, why are you doing it?
100%.
Yeah.
I think that leads into the ego lifting versus, why are you here? Are you here to be healthy and take care of your body? I think that's something that happens as someone matures in the gym. When they first start out, it is, and this is mostly kind of geared toward teenage guys out there, they they're going in, they're throwing weight, it's a competition against their bros or themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. And honestly, it's a rite of passage, I think, that they need to go on, and everybody is on their own path to enlightenment or maturity, whatever you want to call it. And if that's where they're competing against their friends or themselves, like, sooner or later they're going to learn. Sooner or later they're going to see what their body's limits are and get injured or something like that. Like, the amount of people that have hurt themselves through deadlifts is incredible, right? I never hurt myself through deadlift. I don't go in there to ego lift, right? Listen to your body. It will tell you when it's having too much. But this is why, like, the yoga, the flexibility is so important, because usually when people are hurting themselves in the gym, it's because they're not respecting the rest. They're not respecting the body's limits. They're not taking the time to stretch and all this stuff. And they're in it for the wrong reasons. And whether that's hurting your body physically or like mentally, Deanna, I know there's so many people out there that go to the gym because they are unhappy with the way their body looks. And then why would you want to go back if you're going back for that reason? I can see the difference. But if, I would love to change the narrative and perspective around the gym and have it be like focusing on how good you feel after. And that is self-love, right? Like, that is like when you increase your range of motion and all these things. So yoga is very much like that, loving your body and knowing your limits, but the gym can be like that as well. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents with that.
I'll add to it, because you even said about the 11-day challenge that you did for it. A lot of times people think that yoga is easy, at least the physical side of yoga, it's easy and it's simple. And that's probably because you've never done like some of the hardcore yoga that can get in there. And yes, yoga is not just about the physical side of things, but it's to say that there is absolutely a physicality to it that will show you your weaknesses very quickly. It's really interesting that Deanna said that. I didn't know about the gymnastics side of things. I used to be a gymnast in undergrad. Gymnastics will also show you your weaknesses. You just can't get around that ability to move your body that sometimes you can get through in the gym, where you just kind of push yourself. So it can definitely show you those limitations and then make you go, okay, why am I doing this? I think the bro lifting that you're also referring to, it's a combination of, one, sometimes we just have to make the mistakes and learn from them. We just have to. And then two, the whole reason we're doing all of these panel discussions is because the information out there isn't great. People aren't talking about these various things. And so when you're told, no, you have to lift the absolute maximum, and that's the only way that you're going to be healthy, and that is the absolute only way that lifting can be done, all of a sudden you think, well, there isn't another way. It's this, or I'd be unhealthy. And so I think that's why we're here, really.
Mm-hmm. I would just like to add to that. You do need to push yourself, but you need to know where that safe limit is within yourself. And yeah. It does require pushing outside of your comfort zone. Yes. Go ahead, Deanna.
I said, it's just know your limits, stay within it. It applies to the gym as well.
Exactly. Exactamente.
And there's, regarding the yamas and the niyamas, those 10 teachings, there are 3 more teachings that might apply in this case. One of them is self-study. And just as you said, right? So you have to know if your body hurts, listen to the body. The body has an infinite intelligence. It will tell you when you need to stop. You just have to listen. And just to see also what type of movement and practice best applies to you and works well for you. So that would be, self-study. That's another teaching. And then we have tapas, which I know that you will like, Nikita, very much. It's about discipline and the inner fire, and using that inner fire towards a good purpose. And in our case, it would be movement and what you want to achieve through it. So bringing in that discipline
but not without self-study and not without, knowing exactly where the limit is. And then the last teaching or that I wanted to bring up is contentment. The idea of being simply content with where you are right now and what you have achieved so far. I know that we tend to compare ourselves with everyone and say, oh, I want to look like this person. Oh, I want to be thin like this person. Oh, look how flexible this other person is. But ultimately, nobody is you, and everyone has a different background. They have different challenges in their lives. Different things come easy to them. You are on your own journey, and honor where you are right now. Be content to where you are right now, and be content to where you're going to be tomorrow. Maybe look forward to that. But practicing and working out from a place of I don't know, type of maybe anger or ambition and determination, that is, which ambition are great, but if it comes from a negative place, I don't find that it's sustainable. I don't find that it's necessarily going to bring you joy ultimately, and the fulfillment that you seek.
Mm-hmm. These yoga philosophies are very much interchangeable with life and everything, it seems, because I love the way they balance each other out. And I like when I go to the gym, that's basically how I train, right? Like have the discipline, push yourself within contentment and with balance, just with balance and self-love. So that's really cool. Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
I have a hand raised.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Maybe it just means the practice of, but what does yoga mean by itself? Is there like a deeper, quick meaning to it? Like we talked about diet meaning way of life in Greek. Is there a different meaning for yoga that we just miss?
Yoga, the term means unity.
Union?
And you can interpret it the way that you want. It can be unity between mind, body, and spirit. It can be unity between me and you. Yeah. And everything around us, like plants and trees, animals, and everything, right? We're all energy ultimately. So you can interpret it that way as well.
We are all connected. It is all one. So true. Okay, so we have math 12 minutes left. So let's go touch on to the last question then. And it leads into what we've just been talking about. Oh, hello. And so the next part is, how does masculine and feminine energy come into play with fitness and spirituality? So within fitness, thank you for all the hearts, RK, the skin specialist. Within, let's go within spirituality. What does femininity and masculinity look like? And then within fitness, what is feminine and masculine, and how are the two connected? So, Stefan, do you want to go first?
Sure. So for me, in fitness, you can see it. It's front and center to a large degree of just like, oh no, like guys don't do yoga, or they don't focus on flexibility. Guys focus on chest and biceps, or like whatever the bro things are. Meanwhile, girls, leg day is the favorite day because I get to do glutes every single time, and it's all about the butt, right? And it seemingly everybody cares about abs, but whatever it might be, like we tend to think that those are kind of delineations of it. But I'm like, I think that's a crude stereotype of the way that it actually needs to be. And the truth that every single person has a balance. It's not an equal balance. It's a different balance of masculine and feminine energies. And here's the cool thing that I think is just so unique depending on where you are in life is it changes. It can absolutely change. So I have a baby on the way, and I know that when the baby comes, there's going to be an obvious ebb and flow of how nurturing I'm going to have to be, which could potentially be like perceived as that feminine energy side of things, right? So it doesn't mean that we need to shrink away from it. So when it comes to fitness, in physical therapy, we even have a term for it, at least at my clinic, we call it dude hips, which I suffer from dude hips, which means your hips are so freaking tight, everybody will laugh at you for the amount of flexibility that you have. It is abysmal, right? But that's because we don't work on it a lot of the time. Now, whether or not that's feminine or not, I don't want to get into like a gender debate about it, but it's this idea that guys tend to be like, no, I'm just going to lift heavy weights and however much I can move and I'm going to do all of that, versus what's really good for your body and the fluidity and ability to move in general. So when it comes to fitness as well as spirituality, I think it's a lot easier because when you just get really in touch with your identity, like the way that I am, the whole reason that I'm sitting down here, for example, or anything is, for example, I love the color purple, right? So like this little guy is absolutely part of it. Some people would go like, well, that's not masculine. How could you? That's utterly like, that's weird that you like purple and pink colors. But at the same time,
Andrew Tate comes out of nowhere, just punches you in the face.
Yeah, just punches, right? Like, and I'm like, but no, like, how does that make me any less of that? That doesn't in any way make me any less of a man. That is my maybe possibly feminine energy, but it gets so convoluted when you go into it. But with spirituality, I feel that when you're truly to yourself, not to what other people are telling you should be, but truly true to yourself, it's a lot harder to delineate the feminine and masculine energies, only because you realize, oh, it's a mixture of it all inside of me. So that would be my answer to it.
Totally love it. And I love that you embrace your feminine side, because to me, the most attractive men out there are the men that embrace their feminine side, that aren't afraid to, well, yeah, too bad you're married stuff. No, and like guys that do yoga, like I love it because they're not afraid to tap into that. Just talking from my own experience, I was that typical masculine girl. You know, I grew up in quite survival mode, and I loved upper body day, would always do upper body day. I would do lower body, but not too much. And I had dude hips. I've had dude hips, and I've been working on it for the past year. And by doing yoga, flexibility, and it has changed my life. It's incredible. And just going into like the chakras and opening them up and like working on the hips and doing breath work. Like when I do something, I'm very determined, and I was determined to do this because I felt the imbalance. Sooner or later, if you have this extreme imbalance, it's going to be affecting you somewhere in your life, right? Like if you're too feminine all the time, sometimes you need to get shit done. And sometimes you do need to tap into that masculine doing side or take controls of situations. But for me, I was too much in my masculine. So, very like rigid. But I started, getting kinks in my neck, and like my lower back started to hurt because I didn't have that flexibility. And yes, I'm so strong in the gym and I did a bodybuilding show, but I'm not going to lie, when I would bend forward to open the oven or bend down to pick something up, like my back hurt, and I didn't have that fluidity in my lower back and my spine. So, and then when I started doing the yoga, opening up my hips, now I can feel everything flows so much better. So it just goes back, we touched on it before, but having the balance between the two and finding what that is for you, right? Everyone's got, like, I remember watching a video and they said it's a 70-30% split. So if you're 70% more masculine, 30% of the time you should be tapping into the feminine. And if you're more feminine, 70% you'll be that, but then 30% you should tap into the masculine as well. So yeah, yep. And like, I know it's not a relationship thing, but like, guys, it's okay to talk about feelings and get into your hips. Like, it's 2022, get with the times, it's okay to cry. So go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a whole side of it of where like we can hold feelings and emotions in our muscles. Been proven repeatedly. I don't know that this is true, but it would be very hilarious to me if guys hold their feelings in their hips, and that's why they're tight. So work on both, and you will improve both. There you go. That's all I gotta say.
It happened to me. I was like stretching my hips one day. I'm just like, the next day I'm like, ugh. And it's not just guys, it's with women too, because there's very masculine women out there too. But yeah, it is really stored in the hips. And I'm a very skeptical person. I'm like, if I don't believe it unless I try it. And I have more of a science-based background, but the way my life is going and I'm doing these things, I'm just seeing how it really all, it's true. You know, you store emotions in your body. So Deanna, you have the floor for the, remainder. Please enlighten us.
Actually, no, I don't. Everything that you said was amazing. I was just, listening, and I'm like, I
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah.
neck and shoulders. So stretching the neck and shoulders can also help release some of the, weight. So we all have masculine and feminine energy, just as you said. The masculine energy is steady and decisive and goal-oriented. The feminine energy is more nurturing and more, it changes a lot. It's a little bit unsteady, has a negative connotation, but it's moving a lot, and we have the masculine energy to to the masculine side. When we are caring and loving and nurturing, that's more the feminine side. So we are a combination of both. We need to honor both. And just so the only thing that I wanted to add is that different practices bring up the different parts of you. So if you feel like, for example, I did some practices in order to increase my feminine side and to allow it to awaken more and to be more present and more visible. And there is one mudra. Mudra is like a hand gesture, right? So you have the hands in a certain. There is a certain adding to all the beautiful stuff and awesome stuff that you guys said.
I love that. I love that. Okay, well, we are nearing the end of our discussion. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much for all your guys' input. And I know there's so much more that we can talk about. So we're gonna kind of roll into it. Next week's topic is going to be about how to listen to your body. What the heck does intuitive eating even mean? All these buzzwords and things like that. So, Dan, I hope you will be able to join us. I think you should be able to. No? Okay. Well,
I can only be in there. Apologize, guys,
okay.
because I have a team meeting in Germany.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, Stefan, it'll be you and and I think, we're gonna have fun with it. So thank you guys so much for your time, for your energy, and I hopefully, I'm gonna upload this onto YouTube and it'll be great information for people out there. Thank you so much for the viewers for joining. Thank you, Danny, and have a great rest of your day, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.